What's good, y'all? It's Wanya from Epic CW, and we are here today for a special unboxing for you guys from the RCs. We have an HSP 1/10 scale, ready to run, 4-wheel drive, Nitro RC car. Now on the box it shows that this is a Subaru or Subaru, but I think that I have got the Supra edition one, or at least I should have the Supra edition one. So let's see here. Now I did mention that this is a Nitro car. Something that I have not messed with RC yet. Smell. Okay. Something I have not messed with RC yet. But I am very excited to jump right into it. Now, typically I would toss the instructions away, but I think that it is important when you're starting Nitro for the first time to just read over the entire instruction booklet. I'm going to read over this real quick. I have been watching a lot of RC Nitro cars in preparation of this video from some of my favorite RC YouTubers. So I do kind of have a concept of how this is going to work. Of course, we have the spare parts list. And here we also have the instruction manual. So, and then a couple of extenders for the shocks. So I'm honestly gonna break into this right now. I'm gonna make a whole detailed video after the making of this on how to actually make Nitro cars work, or how they typically work. So here we've got the user manual for any electric / nitro / gasoline cars of any scales. So it's got a, I'm assuming, other HSP. It gives us information on the Nitro radio system, kind of how that works, the servos, the receivers. Now typically Nitro cars do not go backwards because it doesn't have a transmission or the ability to actually go backwards because it can't switch polarity like the electric cars can. But we'll take a look here. Again, it kind of shows the whole instruction paper here for all the parts and such. Honestly, it's a pretty cool thing you can like hang up on your wall or something like that. So we have got a bunch of HSP stickers and the such. Here we've got our fuel bottle, I guess that's what this is. We have the car in here, but I'm gonna pull the car out actually last. Typically I pull it out first, but I want to kind of show everything off. We have got the transmitter. Not bad, not bad. I've also got a little blackened little control deck here. It's pretty cool. Along with a charger of some sort. I'm guessing this goes to the glow plug. And now, not sure if we have some more stuff down here somewhere, but right now, last but not least, we have the actual nitro car here. Okay, hold on. I see some more stuff on the bottom. Here we go. Now, not last but not least, but the most important part, the actual car itself. Wow, this is a beauty. Hold on, let me get a little bit of room here, space. All right, let's take this cellophane off. Oh, that's the best part. Oh my God, this car looks beautiful. Look at this. All right, so we've got a actual visible see-through window, which we might cut out because the nitro needs some room to breathe in there. We should vent both the front and the back, but I think that just the front end window is fine. And I also believe that we should vent a hole for wherever the exhaust pipe goes out, because it looks like the body does not have any holes for the exhaust, at least poking out on the sides. So we'll take a look at that. But this is one of the most beautiful RC cars I've ever unboxed. It's supposed to be a Supra, clearly. Let's take a look underneath the hood for what something like this looks like. Now, nitro cars, like I said, are different than regular RC cars that are electric. They actually have a motor in them. They run on some sort of fuel. Now, this looks wild. I actually have a electric car right here to just show you guys the differences, because if this is your first video that you're watching, it's not going to, and you're starting the RC hobby, you might be a little bit confused. So this right here is what an actual RC car inside should look like for an electric RC car. It's the same kind of premise, except for there's a lot more electrical components. There's a motor that it's an electrical motor that you can easily swap out and replace. You've got a start switch, which lets you turn the car on or off. You've got a battery, which this part right here would be where the battery would go, underneath this panel right here. Then you've got a servo. Essentially, that servo turns up and down and lets the front end wheels turn. And then there's a shaft going through the middle of the actual car that connects the front end wheels to the back end wheels, and it lets the car go forward or reverse. And that's what I was talking about with the negative positive polarity and letting the car go in reverse. Now, with a nitro car, I did a little bit of research before doing this video. With a nitro car, oh, let's do it. Oh, I love it. Okay, with a nitro car, let me see if I got this right. So we have got the motor here, where you would put the glow plug, which I'll show you guys in a second. After you've put the fuel in this tank here, you should, wherever that is, I was talking about the exhaust pipe. This is it right here. So you want to, I believe, fill this fuel tank. Then you're going to want to put the, actually, we'll do it all in real time later. But I believe you fill the fuel tank, you pump it so that the fuel is throughout the car. Then you put in the glow plug and you ignite it, pulling the little string here. So we have an actual pull line for the starter in the back, which is pretty cool. Again, I'm gonna go over the entire thing on video of how to actually start this specific Nitro RC car. Of course, you should read the instructions, but for the most part, I believe all RC cars that are Nitro start the same. So you put the fuel in, you get the fuel running throughout the vehicle, you get it started, and I believe for the most part it runs the same with the car. It has a servo in here that you can control that let the wheels turn. It's got a drive shaft kind of going through the middle of the car, but it's two separate drive shafts. There's one lined up through here, then another through the back, and that essentially connects the front of the wheels to the back and lets the car move. I really like the sound of it as well. And we have the starter pull cord. That should, honestly, this is a lot to go over. With the starter pull cord should, when we pull this down, compress this and let fuel go throughout the engine and come out through the exhaust tube in the back here. This is a beautiful piece of machinery. And underneath here as well, we could actually take a look real quick because I have the screwdriver. Wrong size, hold on. Four nice and crisp on-road tires. They're actually pretty soft. It's very interesting. So if we open this little cabin here, and make sure you keep all your screws together. You got your antenna right here. So you want to pull this bit up. And then it gives you access to the servo in here. Lets you connect to different channels, the on switch, and also the lights. It's got a section for the lights as well if you want to install those. It does not have them cut in the body, but you still can put lights in there if you want to add a channel. And then there's this little piece right here. With this, you're going to put in 4 AA batteries. Almost all Nitro are going to have something like this. You can, of course, unplug it and attach just a small, like, LA Trax battery here. Basically a battery you get from Traxxas or something like that, and you can have this battery just run on its own system. You charge up this separately, plug this in whenever you need the car to just connect to the transmitter. You can do that, and it can run completely off of this battery. It's a lot more efficient. Because this, you basically just charge up every single time and you have a fail-safe, whereas this can run out at any point. A lot of people just pull these out and then put something like these batteries in here just to run on the transmitter. Otherwise, you know, anything works. So I'm going to keep this one in here just for the time being. And then we'll take a look or what else we've got. But those are just some of the things you're gonna want to take a look at when you get your first Nitro RC car. You're gonna want to pop that open. Again, make sure all these wires are kind of tight into the cabin. You don't want that, you know, messed up. Once your screws are back in, you're gonna fasten them down. Sweet. And that is the basics of Nitro electric cars. It's considered Nitro electric just because it has the bit here where it does use a battery operated external battery operated servo, I guess you could say, and power switch. Although it is full nitro, it doesn't run on the battery, so it's not a hybrid, but it's the closest that you can get to, I believe, without actually having, like, I'm not sure if they have hybrid engines for RC cars. I know they have hydraulic engines and water-cooled systems, which is pretty cool on some RC cars, the boats mainly. But yeah, 4 nice soft rubber tires, wishbone, double wishbone suspension, or not double wishbone, but wishbone suspension, front and rear, oil shocks, I believe that's what these are. Yes. Or no, wait. I do not believe these are oil shocks. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna do these instructions because I am curious now. So these are a little bit more difficult to fix and take apart than your typical RC car. You don't want to really have to break any pieces on this. It's going to be a lot harder to fix. For the most part, it's the same, but it's with all these nitro parts. So really, if you're wanting to take it apart and fix it, you're going to have to know how to put all these parts in correctly and fix the car up, which is a whole separate piece of knowledge. So I'm not sure if they were the oil suspended shocks, but honestly I don't think you need them regardless. It does sit pretty low, which is nice, but yeah. And again, I'm going to cut this window out because I don't think that that's really necessary. It is cool that you can see through it, but we need some air circulating through the car to make sure it doesn't overheat. So lastly, we have in the box our parts. Usually RC cars come with a smaller Allen key, or not Allen key, but a hex key, kind of like this. But we've got a giant one here, most likely for the nitro parts on there. And then we've got our glow starter, our rechargeable glow starter. So I think we just plug this in and put this in here and press down, and it helps warm the engine enough to start the car up. So I'm going to read through all the instructions very carefully, watch a couple more videos, cut an air vent for the body here, and then I will kind of show you guys how to start up the car on my own, and we'll run it outside. So until then, I'll see you guys in a sec. All right, so outside officially, have the stuff that you need to start a Nitro RC. First, you're gonna need a full fuel bottle. I'm gonna pop that open real quick. You're gonna need to fill the fuel tank. Honestly, we could have gone halfway, but it's alright, we got some more fuel in there. We're also going to need a charged glow starter. First thing you're going to want to do when you have one of these Nitro RCs is get the controller in hand. You're going to make sure it's on. You're also going to want to turn the car on. Make sure that the servo arms are working and the throttle arms are working. It looks like they're working fine. See from the proper mechanics and the steering mechanics working, so everything is looking good. I have an external battery in there. I took out the just cartridge that you can put batteries into because I heard that it's more prone to having runaways. So next, you're going to want to have your finger on the exhaust, and you're going to just want to actually pull out the cord a little bit. All right, and then hold it down. Make sure fuel gets into the fuel lines. That's what we're doing here. Let's see. I think I'm starting to see some fuel. Alright, so that looks good. There's fuel in the lines. You guys should be able to see the fuel in there. The next step that you do here is make sure you have your receiver on with the glow igniter as well. We're going to put the glow igniter in the start, press it in, and then should just be able to push down and pull. Let's try to figure it out. Oh, I hear it. Oh, come on. Oh. You guys are also going to make sure you have a paper down or something to ensure that your platform is not going to get all dirty, which I'm using a piece of cardboard here, which is fine. Okay, come on. Ah. One second. So it sounded like the motor died. Or not the motor died, but we ran out of fuel. So the first run was to fill the entire fuel tank and let it idle. I believe that the controller actually cut out like about 2 or 3 seconds into it. So I'm actually going to get a block, come back, and we'll actually put this on the ground and see what it's like driving around. All right, guys, so I think I know what I did wrong. So on this car, there is a screw right here. This screw, I believe, controls the flow of gas to the engine, which lets it always either be on the throttle or not be on the throttle. And I believe that screw was fully cranked open, so I'm gonna try and screw it closed a little bit so we have a little bit more control over the throttle. It's always going to be set to open when the car is starting. I did not know that. We know it now. I'm learning along with you guys. So we're here. I already filled the fuel fuel lines with the fuel, so now we just have to put the starter in. Hopefully this works a little bit better this time. It helped if the car was on. I also have a block here so that the car cannot possibly move past that point, because was not prepared for that the first time. So it's a second run, so we should be able to keep the car on idle and drive it at a walking pace. So we'll see that if I can get this to go and adjust the throttle. Get the screwdriver at the ready. Well, the motor died and smoked out, so we're just gonna kind of let that sit there. While we were adjusting it, motor smoked out on me. So, looks like I don't know what I'm doing. All right, we're back in the garage. You guys just saw, unfortunately, the Nitro car never saw a lick of tarmac. I'm actually gonna show you guys what went wrong, explain in better detail. So, looking at the car, I did everything right. I wrote out a whole bunch of things that I had to do to prep the car before actually running it. I was on the first idle, which we ran the tank through. That's what you guys saw the first time we started the car up, and it worked fine. It ran through the entire tank. We refilled it, waited 10-15 minutes in between, started it back up, and I realized that I remember seeing in a couple of RC Nitro videos that there is a screw, a valve screw, I guess you could call it, that controls the intake of the fuel from the fuel line into the engine itself, and that is this right here, this little brass piece. And if I tilt it up a little bit, you guys can kind of see it's got a Phillips head. And what I was trying to do on the second start of that, which you guys can kind of see, I'm fiddling with the screwdriver. What I was trying to do was adjust that screw, because what you're supposed to do when you break in a Nitro RC car for the first time is you're supposed to adjust that screw as you are pressing on the throttle, so that way you can get the car to a proper idle, so that way when you get the car ready, all warmed up, and a couple of tanks through, it's all good to go. I did that improperly. I twisted the screw the opposite direction and made the engine run basically 3 times the power it was supposed to run when it was supposed to be at the lowest power, just idling, or just, I think it's a quarter throttle down on the actual trigger itself, where I was pressing all the way down. So that did affect the car a little bit. That's why we got the smoke out. I don't think it's the last we'll see of this vehicle. Hopefully not, because I paid a lot of money for this car. Well, not a lot, but a lot in terms of, you know, buying my own cars and not being able to run it for the first time. So I did get a bunch of fuel everywhere. You can kind of see on the exhaust, there's a little bit of fuel. There's none on the actual chassis floor itself. That was a little bit unscathed. Had to clean off the tires with just water, warm water, and it's still got a little bit of that fuel on it, but it is what it is. I think what I'm going to do is, if this car does still run, I'm going to swap off the tires from this vehicle to our electric 917K. These are a little bit bigger tires here. And the tire compound are a little bit harder, whereas these are softer compound and they are smaller. So I think these tires will work a little bit better for the Rolalo, whereas the bigger tires will get us a little bit more speed out of this vehicle, if we can get it to work, that is. I don't even really know what I'm dealing with at this point. I'm gonna get my dad's opinion on it, because he's kind of a self-taught mechanic. So I get his opinion. I'll look through a bunch of different RC posts on the internet and see if it's okay to run this, give it another shot. But that's all we have for today's video. I guess it was just an unboxing, no driving, which kind of feels very odd for me, the fact that we didn't get any driving in the actual video, but it was very eventful nonetheless. If you guys enjoyed, you want to see more unboxings, more Nitro, I'm not giving up on Nitro. I think I'm gonna attempt to get this to work off camera, and then in the future, if it continues to work from that point on, I'll make videos of it and whatnot. If it does not work, I will strip what parts I can off of it, use them for my other RCs. I really like this body. I'd like to see if I could put it on the 917, although the only issue is that the foam bit is a little thick on the 917, and if you look under the hood, well, you can't really see it, but if you look under the hood of the car, we have a lot of space back here, whereas the 917K kind of has all that space taken up in the back with the chassis and the part here that extends out to the back. But a little bit of a cutting job I don't think would be an issue. So again, that's if the car doesn't work, then I'll scrap the car. But until then, we'll take another look at it. I'll take a look at it off screen and see what we can do with this thing. Again, not dissuading me from doing nitro in the future. Still very interested in it. I just want to kind of take a little break if this car does not work with nitro for a little while, do a lot more research, come back into it with a fresh start, maybe a cheaper car as well. But this is Wanya from Epic CW. I'm out. Peace.